There is a wealth of evidence that suggests that ancient aliens have been visiting our planet for millions of years and have been interacting with humans in a variety of ways. One of the most intriguing theories is that they have been responsible for genetically engineering humans. The first piece of evidence for this claim comes from the fact that there are certain genetic anomalies that are found in human DNA that cannot be explained by natural selection or evolution. For example, there is a unique genetic marker that is found in the DNA of nearly all humans, which is known as the human leukocyte antigen. This marker is thought to be responsible for the immunity to certain diseases. However, the HLA is also found in animals that are not related to humans, such as monkeys and apes. This suggests that the HLA was introduced to the human gene pool by interbreeding with another species. Another anomaly that points to ancient aliens is the fact that humans have a much higher level of intelligence than any other known species. If we had evolved naturally, we would expect to see a gradual increase in intelligence over time. However, the sudden jump in intelligence that humans experience is more likely to have been the result of genetic engineering by an extraterrestrial species. There is also evidence that ancient aliens have been visiting our planet in physical form. For example, there are many ancient cultures that have stories and artwork that depict beings that look strikingly similar to modern-day aliens. One of the most famous examples is the Sumerian gods, who were described as having long-necked, large-headed bodies and wore strange clothing. These beings also had the ability to fly and were said to have come from the stars. Another example can be found in the ancient Egyptian culture, which also has many depictions of alien-like beings. In fact, the Egyptian god Osiris is often depicted as a being with a long neck and large head. The ancient Mayan culture also has stories of beings that came from the stars and were responsible for teaching them about astronomy and mathematics. These beings were also said to have the ability to fly. There is also physical evidence that suggests that ancient aliens have been visiting our planet. For example, there are numerous megalithic structures around the world, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza, that show clear signs of having been built by a technologically advanced civilization. There are also many ancient artifacts that have been found that contain symbols and writing that cannot be deciphered by modern science. This suggests that they may have come from an extraterrestrial civilization. Overall, there is a wealth of evidence that suggests that ancient aliens have been visiting our planet for millions of years and have been interacting with humans in a variety of ways. One of the most intriguing theories is that they have been responsible for genetically engineering humans. There's a great deal of evidence to suggest that the Illuminati are in fact aliens or alien hybrids of a special bloodline. For one thing, they're always talking about aliens in their coded messages. They're also obsessed with UFO sightings and abductions. In addition, they have been known to use advanced technology that is far beyond our own. Finally, They have always been elusive and secretive, which is another hallmark of aliens. The Illuminati have always been keen on using coded messages to communicate with each other. In fact, many of their symbols and logos are actually coded messages about aliens. For instance, the famous Illuminati eye is actually a coded message about an alien invasion. The eye is actually a UFO, and the pyramid is a spaceship. The Illuminati are also obsessed with UFO sightings and abductions. They often talk about these topics in their coded messages. In addition, they have been known to use advanced technology that is far beyond our own. This is another piece of evidence that suggests they are aliens. They have never revealed their true identities or goals. They have always been secretive about their activities. In conclusion, there's a great deal of evidence to suggest that the Illuminati are aliens. Their obsession with aliens, their use of advanced technology, and their secrecy all suggest that they are not of this world. In fact, they are ancient aliens, our ancestors, called the Anunnaki. Much of the Illuminati symbolism derives from ancient times, especially the Mesopotamian Shining Ones and the Anunnaki. A group of scientists believe that they may have finally discovered the answer to one of humanity's most enduring mysteries, the identity of the so-called Shining Ones. For centuries, people around the world have reported seeing strange, unidentified lights in the sky. These lights are often associated with UFO sightings, and they've been given a variety of names, including low-flying objects, ghost lights, and will-o'-the-wisps. But the most popular name for these lights is probably Shining Ones. The term Shining Ones comes from ancient mythology. In many cultures, the Shining Ones were gods or angels who descended from the heavens to enlighten humankind. In some stories, they were also associated with UFOs and other strange objects in the sky. This new research, which was published in the journal Frontiers in Astronomy and Space Sciences, suggests that the Shining Ones might actually be aliens. The scientists came to this conclusion after studying a phenomenon known as the light speed phenomenon. This is a phenomenon that occurs when a bright light suddenly appears in the sky and then rapidly vanishes. Witnesses of this phenomenon have described it as a giant flash of light that comes and goes in the blink of an eye. Researchers have long suspected that the light speed phenomenon is caused by aliens visiting our planet. But until now, there hasn't been any scientific evidence to support this claim. The new study, however, finds that the light speed phenomenon is caused by aliens. The researchers used a telescope to observe the light speed phenomenon. They found that the phenomenon does indeed occur when a bright light suddenly appears in the sky and then rapidly vanishes. The study's lead author, Yaogang He of China's National Astronomical Observatories, said in a statement that the research provides the first observational evidence that the light speed phenomenon is caused by aliens. He added that the research opens a new window for searching for extraterrestrial intelligent life.
Mythology and folklore are a rich and diverse body of stories, beliefs, and practices that have been passed down through generations in various cultures around the world. They are often used to explain natural phenomena, provide moral guidance, and connect people to their cultural heritage. But where did these traditions come from? What is the origin of mythology and folklore? The origins of mythology and folklore are shrouded in mystery, as they are often passed down through oral tradition and may have been influenced by multiple cultures over time. However, scholars have identified several factors that may have contributed to the development of these traditions. One of the main factors is the need to explain natural phenomena. Before the development of modern science, people had to rely on stories and myths to explain natural phenomena, such as the changing seasons, the movement of the stars, and the behavior of animals. These stories often involved gods or supernatural beings who controlled the forces of nature, and were used to provide a sense of order and meaning in a world that could be unpredictable and dangerous. Another factor that contributed to the development of mythology and folklore is the need for moral guidance. Many myths and folk tales teach moral lessons, such as the consequences of greed, the importance of honesty, and the value of hard work. These stories were often used to teach children how to behave in society and to reinforce cultural values. Mythology and folklore also served as a means of cultural identity and preservation. Many cultures developed their own unique myths and folk tales that reflected their history, beliefs, and customs. These stories were passed down from generation to generation and helped to create a sense of cultural continuity and identity. Religion also played a significant role in the development of mythology and folklore. Many ancient religions had complex pantheons of gods and goddesses, each with their own stories and myths. These stories were used to explain the nature of the gods, their relationships with each other, and their roles in the world. In addition to these factors, mythology and folklore were also influenced by contact between cultures. As people traveled and traded with each other, they shared their stories and beliefs, and these stories were often incorporated into local traditions. This is why many myths and folk tales have similarities across different cultures, such as the flood myths, and are found in many different parts of the world. In conclusion, the origin of mythology and folklore is a complex and multifaceted topic. While there is no one definitive answer, scholars have identified several factors that may have contributed to their development, including the need to explain natural phenomena, provide moral guidance, preserve cultural identity, and reflect religious beliefs. These stories and traditions continue to captivate and inspire people around the world, and are an important part of our shared cultural heritage. And yet, hidden within these stories also lies the truth of ancient aliens' visitation and the tales of their giant offspring. Giants are a common figure in world folklore, appearing in myths and legends from cultures all over the globe. These larger-than-life captured the imagination of people for centuries and have been the subject of countless stories and legends. But where did the concept of giants come from? What is the origin of giants in world folklore? The origins of giants in folklore are difficult to trace, as they are often found in the earliest stories and legends of many cultures. However, scholars have identified several possible explanations for the emergence of the idea of giants in world folklore. One of the earliest theories is that the concept of giants may have emerged as a way of explaining the presence of large and imposing skeletal remains that were often found in ancient burial sites. These remains were often interpreted as belonging to giant creatures or beings, and stories about these giants may have emerged as a way of explaining their existence. Another theory is that the concept of giants may have emerged as a way of explaining the physical differences between different peoples. In many cultures, physical size and strength were valued, and stories about giants may have been used to explain why some people were larger and stronger than others. The concept of giants may also have emerged as a way of expressing the fears and anxieties of people about the natural world. In many cultures, natural disasters such as floods, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions were attributed to the anger of the gods. Giants may have been seen as an extension of this concept, representing the forces of nature as larger-than-life figures that could cause destruction and chaos. In some cultures, giants were also associated with supernatural abilities or magical powers. They were often depicted as possessing immense strength, intelligence, and even the ability to control the elements. These stories may have emerged as a way of expressing the awe and wonder that people felt towards the natural world. It is also possible that the concept of giants emerged as a way of expressing social or political power dynamics. In many cultures, rulers and leaders were seen as larger-than-life figures, possessing power and authority that was beyond that of ordinary people. Stories about giants may have emerged as a way of expressing the power and authority of rulers in a symbolic and metaphorical way. In conclusion, the origin of giants in world folklore is a complex and multifaceted topic. While there is no one definitive answer, scholars have identified several possible explanations, including the need to explain the presence of large skeletal remains, the desire to explain physical differences between peoples, the expression of fears and anxieties about the natural world, the attribution of supernatural abilities and powers, the expression of social and political power dynamics, and of course, the possible folk memory of a real race of alien giants. However, it is now time to step deeper into the mystery of the giants and discover more. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, that they bare children to them, the same mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Genesis 6, 1 through 4.
In the southern New Jersey and Philadelphia folklore of the United States, the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forest of Pine Barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that of a bipedal kangaroo-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked tail. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. According to popular folklore, the Jersey Devil originated with a Pine Barrens resident named Jane Leeds, known as Mother Leeds. The legend states that Mother Leeds had 12 children, and after finding she was pregnant for the 13th time, cursed the child in frustration, crying that the child would be the devil. Since then, the Jersey Devil has been sighted in the Pine Barrens and in surrounding areas. Modern sightings persist, and if you venture into the Pine Barrens, you may catch a glimpse of this cursed flying cryptid.
This investigation is it's 2 years, and for all the wild camps that I've done, for all the night investigations I've done all over Britain, we've produced nothing really, nothing compelling. But that's not really surprising given, what we're looking at. But one of the spookiest places in Britain, or one of the most notorious forests to camp in Britain, is Harwood Forest up in Northumberland, and that's very near to Britain's third biggest forest, Kielder. And there's some very strange reports coming out of there. So I got in touch with a guy called Fell Wanderer, who is a prominent wild camper. He runs a well-known YouTube channel for bushcrafters. So what else can I do but go up to Northumberland and spend a couple of nights camping with a Fell Wanderer just to see if we could get anything.
Well, I've camped here in groups, I've camped here on my own, and I can honestly say I've never experienced a more spookier place. Some of the best times I've had has been on my own when I know there's nobody else around for miles, and I'm hearing, often at the early hours in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock, I'm hearing knocks and breaks, all happening within a couple of seconds of each other. So I know it's not the wind because it's been totally still, and it's like I say, there's just nobody around, and when you're on your own, it can just really freak you out. But it's exhilarating at the same time.
So this evening marks the beginning of this 2-night investigation into here at Harwood Forest, which is in, I think Harwood and Kielder, the forest in general, is the biggest forest in England, and I think the 3rd in Britain. I think there's 2 bigger forests up in Scotland. So there are a lot of stories coming out here, some from wild campers, some from some from farmers, some from other researchers in the BBR, that talk about people finding sheep carcasses in here, strange noises in here. Neil Young, who's been a member, and probably I think he was a founder member of the BBR years ago, has had experiences in here as well. He's had some parts of his camping kit removed and suddenly appear from nowhere. So tonight is really all about getting, as ever, like I've been doing for the last 2 years, getting out here, putting myself in the environment. I've been joined by Michael Pelby of the BBR as well. I'm here with Fell Wanderer, he's experienced some strange things in here. He's also an experienced wild camper. He's familiar with the area. He knows it inside out like the back of his hand, and I think that's important when you come to these places. Don't just wander in wildly and blindly. You know, speak to someone that knows what they're doing. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to plant a few audio devices. I think we've got three separate audio capture devices. We've got 2 trail cams that we're going to set up, even though they're forever unreliable and never capture a thing, but we've just brought them, so we're going to try them. We may try a bit of mat, we may try just a bit of just putting it out there, just a bit of intention. Look, I've got to this point 2 years down the line where I'm willing to try anything and anything, because in regards to, yes, I found a few footprints that are a little bit sketchy in my opinion. 2 years down the line, what do I think Bigfoot is, and do I think that he's in here? The honest truth is I don't know what he is. I don't even know if he's real, because I'm relying on the evidence of other witnesses. Do I believe their stories? Absolutely I do. Do I think it's supernatural, which is a big thing. There's a big thing in the British, and even in the world over in the Bigfoot community, there's a big thing about it being this supernatural. There's more quantum theories being thrown in, and multiple dimensions and that kind of thing, putting Bigfoot into the same category as a ghost and UFOs and other strange phenomena, or the paranormal as a whole. And I think there is some connection to that. Am I willing to bet my life on it? Not at this point, no. I think, unlike other researchers, I still think there is room in Britain for a flesh and blood animal, and that has always been my line of inquiry. First, rule that out. Talking to the witnesses, it looks like the accounts are heavily favour something corporeal, so something flesh and blood. Do I rule out a supernatural element to this? Absolutely not, because I've been in and spoken to witnesses, people like Paul Sinclair, that have witnessed strange things and all manner of phenomena, including Bigfoot, in the area where UFOs are seen, cattle mutilations, strange deaths of cattle and other wildlife. So is it related? I don't know. Hopefully tonight we'll find out.
I like being under a tarp. I like being in a bivvy. And to me, a bivvy's the way forward. You can just roll it out within 30 seconds, that's your shelter. If you're sure it's not going to rain, it's brilliant. You don't have to put a tarp up. But it's usually sod's law. If you don't put a tarp up, it usually does rain. But I like this A-frame configuration because it allows me to lie down and I can see all the way around. If I hear noise through the night, I'm not in a tent. You know, I can see what's going on. So, to me, it's a simple form of camping.
So as with any other camp, we put out the equipment, we light a fire, we cook some food, and at this point I really want to know, Damien's been wild camping a long time now, and I wanted to know what he thought about the possible existence of a wild man, be it flesh and blood or something more supernatural. And what did he think the prospects of it being real are?
It's still a mystery, but I am switched on about this place now, and for a while I was frightened to come back, because the more I got to know, the more I was kind of like freaked out about it, thinking, because I didn't know, I'm on my own. Obviously I haven't got a weapon or anything, and if they wanted to do harm, they could do it. But then I got thinking, well, if they wanted to do harm, they could have had plenty of chances before now to do it. So I kind of it was just like, it was psychological. I got over it eventually, And now I'm quite happy to come back out in the forest and camp on my own, which I do quite frequently anyway. I think these creatures, they can appear and disappear and perhaps only leave 1 or 2 prints. You know, like the one I found, it's just one on its own. And it looks to me like a footprint. I had a good look around, I couldn't see if that was a track leading to it or leading away, I couldn't find anything. So my only hypothesis was that this thing had just materialised, perhaps took a drink, got up and walked away. And that's perhaps what it is. It's just because people talk about tracks leading somewhere then just suddenly stopping. Well, if that's the case, where have they gone? And the only logical explanation for me is they've just disappeared. They've changed form. Have they become energy? I don't know. But that's maybe why there isn't much evidence, because they're not in the physical form that often. So
obviously we've determined that you do believe there's a supernatural element to this.
I believe that, and I shouldn't really believe. I should be looking at. I theorise, but I do tend to believe. So I am a kind of little bit. I do have an open mind. I think they are. I think they can be flesh and blood, sometimes, which is a nice argument to have. I've got it both ways. But there is times I go through my mind. I think, well, you know, shape shifting, energy. You know, this is just crazy. This, like, I've got to kind of like convince myself that I'm not going crazy, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
So it's about 2:30. Nothing as yet, so I'm just gonna lie in our tents and just listen, see what's what, see if we hear anything. That's all we can do.
Another massive bombshell revelation presented to the committee detailed reports of the Defense Intelligence Agency's research into the biological effects of UFO sightings on humans. This entailed burns, heart issues, sleep deprivation, and reported abductions, some resulting in pregnancies. The report determined that these victims had been injured from exposures to anomalous vehicles, especially airborne and when in close proximity. The cause of the burns was determined to be electromagnetic radiation, with additional linkage to energy-related propulsion systems. The DIA issued a dire warning that whatever these objects were, they should be considered a threat to the United States interests. The report disclosed 42 cases from medical files and 300 unpublished cases of people incurring injuries following encounters with these unknown objects. Adding to this phenomena, a professor of pathology at Stanford University has been conducting tests on the brains of people who claim they've experienced a UFO encounter, and the results are very alarming. The professor has published over 300 research articles on the matter and owns 40 U.S. patents. Over the last decade, he has devoted his time to studying retrieved materials from alleged UFOs. His interest in the UFO phenomena began when he was asked by military officials to utilize his blood analysis instrumentation to aid with cases of pilots who were in proximity to alleged UAPs, and as a result, contracted horrible brain damage. When pressed if the professor could reveal the more abnormal effects on the brains analyzed with MRIs, he stated, "If you've ever looked at an MRI of somebody with multiple sclerosis, there's something called white matter disease. It's scarring. It's a big white blob, or multiple white blobs, scattered throughout the MRI. It's essentially dead tissue where the immune system has attacked the brain," he added. That's probably the closest thing that you could come to if you wanted to look at a snapshot from one of these individuals. You can pretty quickly see that there's something wrong. Approximately 100 patients, mostly defense or governmental personnel or people working in the aerospace industry, were inspected. The professor continued. You have a smorgasbord of patients, some of whom have heard weird noises buzzing in their head, got sick, etc. A reasonable subset of them had claimed to have seen UFOs, and some claimed to be close to things that got them sick. The research into this phenomena further revealed that the victims had an overconnection of neurons between the head of the caudate and the putamen. The caudate nucleus is a pair of brain structures that constitute the basal ganglia. It aids in high-level functioning that includes planning movement, learning, memory, reward, motivation, emotion, and romantic exchanges. The putamen is a large structure located within the brain. It is involved in an extremely complex feedback loop that prepares and aids in movement of the limbs. Signals are transmitted through the caudate and putamen structures to the motor thalamus, brainstem, and motor neocortex, which helps the body with all aspects of physical movement. Sadly, approximately a quarter of the MRI patients who claimed they had a UFO encounter died from their injuries, and the majority were found to have symptoms identical to Havana syndrome.
Our lakes around the world appear to be portals where strange prehistoric-like creatures abound. They vary in size, shape, and description, from eel-like, octopus styles, and plesiosaurs. Lake monsters appear in native legend as well as modern sightings. They seem to have been around as long as humans have walked the earth and traveled the seas. Many lake monsters were considered to be dragon-like sea serpents in the early sightings. However, most of all lake monster sightings in modern times described the beasts to have long necks and large bodies with flippers. Some believe they may actually be ancient dinosaurs that travel deep underground passages from the sea to the lakes inland. Others think they enter our domain via supernatural portals and only appear in our realm infrequently. In any case, lake monsters are sighted yearly and across the many lakes worldwide on Earth. Any large body of water near you may be home to one of these bizarre creatures. So if you're out boating on one of a multitude of lakes around the globe, watch the waves closely. A lake monster could be nearby.
mysterious lights emanating from what appear to be spacecrafts jettison out of the Earth's atmosphere. Just as the objects come into focus, NASA's live video feed from the International Space Station is abruptly cut off. A growing pattern has emerged over the years. Continual incidents of alien crafts caught on camera hovering over the Earth's atmosphere, or in some cases, departing Earth on course to deep space. Videos of these incidents shared on YouTube have received millions of views and created a public awareness of a deliberate conspiracy to cloak the truth by NASA. One avid observer of the video feeds stated that UFOs do appear regularly, and like clockwork, NASA cuts the feed when the UFO gets close to the station. July 2016, a mysterious object appeared moving towards the International Space Station. A viewer of the live feed stated that it was diamond-shaped. As the object neared the station, the transmission was suddenly terminated. January 2017, an observer was viewing the live feed when suddenly the feed cut out. Seconds later, it came back on and a mysterious object appeared. He stated that at first it was small, then grew bigger, lasting 25 seconds. He commented that it must have been an alien craft due to its odd maneuvers and altitude. December 2018. During the docking of the Dragon capsule with the International Space Station, a triangular object was seen passing over. Within seconds of the craft's appearance, the feed was cut. March 2019. During a routine maneuver of a mini shuttle on the exterior of the ISS, a strange light appeared in the distance. The light gradually got closer to the orbiting laboratory. A viewer who witnessed the craft stated that he saw the object further away a few hours earlier. Gradually, the object moved closer, about 30 to 50 meters away from the station. He described the anomaly as massive in size and partially cloaked. But soon it was revealed by sunlight bouncing off it. He added that when the shape came into focus, it appeared to be a thick, round cylinder with a complex texture. Suddenly, the live feed was terminated. Soon after, NASA cancelled its all-female spacewalk due to lack of enough suits, but it is widely speculated that this wasn't the real reason for the cancellation. November 2019, a Russian ISS cosmonaut noticed 3 crafts nearing the station. 50 seconds into the ISS video clip, the voice of the cosmonaut was heard to say, "It's a ship," as the bizarre lights arrived in view. Before he could say anything else, NASA ground control cut his audio off. Then seconds later, the feed itself was terminated.
Could aliens exist in the quantum realm all around us? This is a question that many scientists and astronomers have pondered. After all, the quantum realm is a place of infinite possibilities, and the laws of physics are very different than those in our everyday world. The quantum realm is a strange place where particles can exist in multiple states at once and can even interact with each other without any physical contact. It is a place of uncertainty, where the laws of physics do not always apply. For this reason, some scientists and theorists believe that there could be alien life forms in the quantum realm, existing in a state of superposition, where they can exist in multiple states at the same time. This idea is not as far-fetched as it may seem. Many experiments have shown that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously. This means that if an alien species was able to exist in a quantum state, they would be able to exist in multiple places at once and could potentially even communicate with us without ever leaving their own realm. The possibility of alien life forms existing in the quantum realm is an exciting prospect, and one that could lead to new discoveries and advances in our understanding of the universe. While there is still much to learn about the quantum realm, the potential for alien life forms is definitely worth considering. But what about physical evidence? Strange objects floating through space, for instance. The mysterious interstellar object known as Oumuamua has been the subject of much speculation and debate since it was discovered in 2017. While some believe that it is simply an asteroid from another star system, others believe that it is an alien craft of some sort. Oumuamua is an elongated, cigar-shaped object which is highly unusual for an asteroid and more akin to a designed vessel. The trajectory is also strange. Oumuamua appears to have changed its course as it passed through our solar system, which is also highly unusual for an asteroid and something that implies it was being controlled or directed in some way. And then there's its composition. Oumuamua appears to be composed of minerals and elements not commonly found in asteroids, such as magnesium, silicon, and oxygen. This suggests that it was manufactured rather than naturally occurring. Oumuamua is also moving much faster than any known asteroid, suggesting it had some kind of propulsion system. This suggests that it was designed to travel through space rather than being a naturally occurring object. When all of this evidence is taken together, it is difficult to deny that Oumuamua is an alien craft of some kind. While it is impossible to say with any certainty what its purpose is or who created it, the evidence strongly suggests that it is an artificial object rather than a naturally occurring one. But where could it come from? Is there a planet nearby that could possibly hold life? Well, there is Planet X, which is an astronomical phenomenon that has been a subject of debate for decades. It is also known as Nibiru, or Planet 9, and is believed to be a large planet located beyond the orbit of Neptune. There are many theories about Planet X, but the most widely accepted one is that it is a large gas giant that is located in the outer solar system. It is believed to have a mass 5 to 10 times that of Earth, and could be up to 4 times the size of our planet. It is also believed to be in an elliptical orbit around the Sun, taking between 10,000 and 20,000 years to complete one orbit. There is no definite evidence yet of Planet X's existence, but there are some hints that it may exist. For example, there are some irregularities in the orbits of objects in the Kuiper Belt, which is beyond Neptune, that could be caused by the gravitational pull of an as-yet undiscovered planet. The search for Planet X is ongoing. astronomers are using telescopes and satellites to look for evidence of its existence, and some have theorized that it could be the cause of some of the strange phenomena that have been observed in our solar system. Whether or not Planet X exists is still a matter of debate, but it has certainly sparked the imaginations of many. It is an interesting mystery that continues to be studied and may one day be solved. Contact with an advanced extraterrestrial race may potentially end life on Earth, urged scientists and experts. They warned that humans should not make the effort to establish communication with these beings, as it would risk endangering mankind. These concerns emerged when NASA began investigations of UFOs and released an intelligence report announcing that we cannot rule out the existence of alien life. An alarmed physicist responded by declaring, attempting to communicate with extraterrestrials, if they do exist, could be extremely dangerous for us. We need to figure out whether it's wise or safe, and how to handle such attempts in an organized manner. An astronomer working for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, also known as SETI, is deeply worried that any attempt to establish communication with extraterrestrials could ignite the reckless endangerment of all mankind. He added that beings from other planets are likely to be more advanced than humans, making them an even greater threat. To address this concerning issue, a Russian physicist created a similar theory. As an expert on theoretical physics for Russia's National Research University of Electronic Technology, the physicist referred to the Fermi paradox as the reason why we haven't found discernible proof of alien life. The Fermi paradox is founded on the idea that the Milky Way has 400 billion stars, with 7% of them being inhabitable. This encompasses 6 billion stars with Earth-like planets, establishing a credible probability of life forms existing in these worlds. However, would these alien life forms be easy for us to recognize? Or could their physical form be incomprehensible to our senses? The physicists surmised that extraterrestrials may exist in countless different forms, conceivably biological, mechanical, artificial intelligence beings, or pure energy or light. The possibilities are infinite. On a darker note, the physicists suggested a more foreboding scenario: that an alien race possessing advanced technologies light years ahead of ours could embark on galactic journeys and conceivably eradicate inferior alien civilizations along the way. He suggested that this process of extermination may not be their true intentions. The physicist clarified, "I am not suggesting that a highly developed civilization would consciously wipe out other life forms. Most likely, they simply won't notice, the same way a construction crew demolishes an anthill to build real estate. The incentive to grab all available resources is strong, and it only takes one bad actor to ruin the equilibrium." The realization is rapidly becoming clear. We are being groomed for a cosmic transition in our human existence. We may become part of a family of otherworldly neighbors and conceivably inherit inclusion into the Galactic Federation. Humans may journey with our celestial brothers and sisters through the cosmos, discovering new worlds and life forms. This prospect, however, is contingent upon the true intentions they will have for us. The answer to this question will soon be revealed.